Hello, welcome to the Vision with Technology training for Easy Publish. In this module we're going to be going through and having a look at the admin interface for Easy Publish. When you first get given your access to the admin interface, you're likely to end up on this particular screen here. As you can see, it has Easy Publish, so you know where you are. You'll have login, you'll have username and password. However, your screen may look different than this if your administrators have customized it in any way. So if we go right ahead and enter our login details and then click login, that will take you through to the main Easy Publish interface. Now, as you can guess, this looks very different from the front end site, and there's a reason for that. Most editors, most power editors, will spend a lot of their time in the actual back-end administration system, mainly because of all the features it enables you to have. Let's take a quick first look past every single tab. Now, we're going to have modules and sections for each of these tabs, but right now I just want to get an overview so you can see exactly what you need to know, what you don't need to know, and then you can choose the specific training elements that are going to be specific for you. We start off in the content structure. This is going to be the default area. On the left hand side you'll see the content structure. If you don't see that, it means that you've probably got a new account, in which case you'll probably have a cross right here. If you just click that, what will happen is it will expand it. If you still don't see anything, have a chat with your administrator, because obviously there's either some kind of problem or there's an issue of some kind. The same goes for these top elements at the top here: preview, details, locations and relations. If these aren't clicked, if they aren't blue for you, then click them so that you can get an understanding about what's happening with your piece of content. Let's examine a piece of content. This is the home page, and as we can see, as we've clicked preview, we've got some details on this. So we can see an understanding of what content's in the specific node itself, like we can see it's got a title called home, we can see that it's got some center column information, and also within here we can see it's got an image of some kind. Looks pretty ugly and doesn't look anything like the home page, and that's because Easy Publish has this separation between content and display. So it's important to remember that you've got to try and visualize how the site will look when you're entering the content. Then when you do a preview or you hit send for publishing, you can actually see what it's going to look like. This is because your content could end up on a widescreen, or it could end up on, say, a mobile phone or some other tablet device. So that's the main preview. We've also got our controls here for edit, move and remove. We've got details in here, so we've got administrator user. We can tell that when this item was created, how many versions it has. Easy Publish by default has 10 versions, which it will keep of all of your information. How many translations? If you have a multilingual site, this will tell you, this has 4 or 5 different translations, which just lets you know. So you go, okay, well, which one do I want to edit? And if I'm going to edit just one, should I then replicate that through all the other languages? It also gives you the node ID and the object ID, and these are specific ways of the system uses to identify this, and also you're going to come across this when you link to things. Don't worry, you don't have to remember them, but it's useful to know that they're there. We also have the locations. Now, location tells you where this piece of information exists within the system. This one's pretty easy. It's actually in the home folder. But it also tells you how many sub-items are for this particular location and whether it's visible or not. If I wanted to hide it, I would just click here. It would actually hide the information, hide the content. In this case, it would make the entire site disappear because it's the home node. But I could also then turn around, and as I can see, it's got reveal. On the right hand side you'll notice it says main, and that's if I add this to multiple locations, I can choose which is the location that I actually want to be the main location within the system, and that's something that the system will use, and again we will go through to those later. I can also see how many relations there are to this, and this is if you insert an image, a file, or you've got some kind of code within the system, because obviously Easy Publish can be highly customized to work in the way that you want it to work. And in this situation you could have a whole manner of things. In this case, looks like we've got an embedded image, we've got an embedded gallery, a banner and an article. And then also down the bottom here you've got how many sub-items there are. And on a home page, obviously there's going to be a lot. So we've got products, solutions, training, support, getting started, partners and community, and then company. So these may not mean too much to you. So let's flip to the front end, and as we can see in this, if we flip to the actual home page, we see that we've actually got things such as the home page, which is we're on now. We can see these images. So yeah, it's pretty much true. We've got a banner image, we've got a gallery item here, plus we have some news folders, and here's these sub items: products, solutions, training, support, getting started, community. If we just flip back to the admin interface, we can see them there. So you just have to suspend belief just for a moment to kind of flip between the two. But once, if you're working on a site for a long time, this will become second nature. We also have down the bottom here a selection bar where we can choose to add articles, blogs, banners, etc. And then a priority setting if we want to change the order of those. So that's pretty much the main element. This is where you're going to spend a lot of your time just seeing the information, adding items below it. We've then got the right hand column where we have current user, your login ID. You can change your information here. So if I wanted to go in and change my user ID, my password, maybe I wanted to change some other details that are specific to your system, then you could go in here and change them. So here I could go in and just change my password if I wanted, my email and password. I'm going to discard draft so I don't leave lots of mess hanging around the system. Always good to tidy up. We also have down here change password. If you want to specifically just change your password, you can come here and change it. And we also have log out at the end of every session. Always a good practice to log out. And we've got some other items up here which will either appear or won't appear based on your permissions. So we have things such as bookmarks, clear cache, and then any quick settings that you may have. So that gives us a viewpoint where we've got the directory structure of a system, where we can see all of the folders and all the subfolders. We've got the main preview area, which is the content or specific content we've selected. If we say flipped on to Welcome to Easy Publish Training, we'd see that the center section changes to that specific training. If we were to flip on to say certification, again it will change. So the middle area of the system is specifically sensitive to where you are in the site. The right hand side always stays the same, and the left hand side will always change based on where you're navigating. So generally this is one big tree now, which means you'll always be able to see where you are. On the bigger the site, the bigger the tree. So let's have a look at the top bar here. We've got content structure, media library, user accounts, web shop, design, setup, and my account. The content structure tab at the top here takes you to this page. It gives you the main navigation. It's where you're going to spend a lot of your time editing your content. The media library is a shared location that is specific for storing things such as files, PDFs, Word documents, PowerPoints, OpenOffice, Impress files, Keynotes, etc. The images location is where generally you will store all of your images for the system. Again, you can see it follows the main preview, details, relations. But there's something different here. We can actually change and view the thumbnail, and we can actually view the images within that. So we can see that there's one file within our files library, which is called Only Leon. We've then got user accounts, which you may or may not see based on your permissions. If you're administrator, you'll definitely see it. If you're not, you may not have access to that. So we've then got within here users, administrator users, and again this may be different in your system. This is where we also would set any roles and policies for your system. We then have the web shop, and the web shop is if your site has commerce on it, then this is where you'll manage your customers, your discounts, your orders, etc. We then have design. The design tab isn't generally used that often. We don't tend to use it too much, but if you have your site set up using Webbing and it's configured correctly, you can change where your navigation and your top elements are. We then have the actual setup tab. This is where all of the meat of the system exists for administrating. So this is where you want to find out, say, clear the cache. So if there's an issue, or you want to clear all of the cache, which could be template cache or it could be main HTML cache, however that's working. It has all of your classes. So within your system, if you have any classes and groups, such as here we've got some content like forums, events, files, etc. These are actually stored within here. Any collected information will be stored in here. If you have a form that specifically uses Easy Publish, then that information will be stored in there as well. And there's a whole raft of other goodies in here that we go through again later on. My Account is a great place. This is where you should always flip to at least once per session and just see if you've got any drafts that have left open. If, say, you'd saved a draft halfway through editing and your browser had crashed, you'd lost internet connectivity or whatever, this is where that draft would be. So it can save you a huge amount of time. Also, if someone's accidentally, or they've gone in and deleted some items, and you've actually had some previous drafts, then they'll be in there as well. We've also got my notification settings, my bookmark settings, and collaboration. So if you've got any workflow configured in the system, then you're actually going to have all of that information within there as well. So if you're using workflow, you're going to spend a lot of time here. As you can see, in this particular environment, there's none set up. And that's it for the administration interface. A quick overview should give you an understanding of all the different elements within there. What I'd like you to do is to choose the items that you want, or just follow through the main path if you want to. Thanks very much. Oh, always remember to log out, and look forward to talking to you soon. Bye bye.